This woman thought that her husband made $60,000 a year, but then she took a look at his tax return and discovered that he had reported $1.8 million in income, all while still charging his wife $500 a month. And later, a bride specifically tells her pregnant sister not to announce her pregnancy at her wedding because the bride is pregnant too and had plans to announce it on her wedding day. But as you can expect from a Reddit story, her sister does it anyway. Hey, it's your girl B, and welcome back to Reddit After Dark, where we dive into the wildest stories that Reddit has to offer. Tonight, we have a husband hiding a very different financial reality from his wife, and a sister who was given exactly one job at a wedding. Do not announce your pregnancy. And trust me, both of these stories get messier as they go. So let's get into it. Our first story is about a 26-year-old woman who's been married to her husband for around 2 years. She works as a medical technician, and her husband works in tech. And when she asked him about his salary, he said he made $60,000 a year. So nothing that seemed unusual. Until she decided that she wanted to buy a house for her mother and younger sister. The bank needed both their tax returns, and suddenly he did not want to hand them over to her. He kept suggesting that he could just deal with the bank instead. But after arguing about it, he hands over the tax returns, and that's when she sees the truth. His reported income for the previous year, $1.8 million. Meanwhile, she's been working, paying off her own loans, and contributing $500 a month towards the house. And she even used her own money to buy his car. So the question isn't just where did this money come from, it's also why didn't the wife know about this? I think we need some answers. So let's get into it. Starting with the title, found out my husband is a secret millionaire and still charges me $500 rent every month. Ooh, this is gonna be a juicy one. I, 26 female, met my now husband, 25 male, 4 years ago online. He was a student at university and I was working full-time as a medical tech. He was a very hardworking, ambitious, goal-oriented person, and these are just some of the qualities that was attractive to me. He's an immigrant and I knew his family's financial struggles. I was impressed by how far he's come, and I've always been there supporting him in his goals. Soon after we started dating, and 2 years ago, we got married. He graduated from college and found a job at a tech company, and he would work from home while I would work 12 hours a day on site. I'd ask about his salary and he would tell me it's $60K. I didn't think of it much and we just continued life. I only made $20 an hour and I have lots of loans that I usually pay. Fast forward 1 year, he moved to a new city, and while I was struggling to find a job in the new city, I stayed back for 3 months. After 3 months, he surprised me with a house that was in his name only. He would never talk to me about his finances. He got a loan for $400,000 on the house with a $60,000 salary. I didn't pay attention, and since our marriage, he's the one taking care of the finances and taxes, etc. I wanted to purchase a house for my mother and sister. I found the perfect house, and my bank requested me for tax returns of the last 3 years. I requested my husband to send it to me, but he would insist that he liked to talk to the bank or he would handle the situation and would try to convince me that his bank is better than mine. But I had already locked down on this deal and I wasn't going to budge. So finally, after a lot of arguing, he sent me the tax returns. And the tax return income for last year was a whopping $1.8 million. And my contribution was $38,000. All this time, he would fight with me for small and little expenses. He bought a 2007 beater Toyota with my money and still charges me $500 every month. I don't understand how he got so much money and why he tried to hide it from me. Yeah, so this is super strange. I mean, he wasn't showing any signs of making 1.8 million a year, and he was hiding it from his own wife, and even got her to buy a used car for him. And on top of that, was getting her to pay him $500 a month in rent. This all seems like he's making, a very conservative salary because he needed assistance with the mortgage and finding a used car. It almost sounds like he's building up a case for himself to appear that he's not making as much money as he truly is. The question is, where's all this money coming from, and why is he hiding it from his own wife? Let's keep reading. Since I found out, he told me his bank is empty. He spent it all, sent it back home to his parents, etc. I am lost and I have a lot of questions. Girl, I would too. How can you make $1.8 million, live well below your means, and all of a sudden the money just vanished? It's gone. It's been spent. Spent on what? Like, I just feel like this guy is hiding a lot. Like, I would personally be concerned from a legal standpoint because there's just red flags everywhere. But let's keep reading. I couldn't read all the questions, but I can answer a few questions before I go to work. Wow, she's still working. He's still working her. Okay. I will post more about it later. I said I made $38,000 last year. It doesn't mean I make the same now. I make around $50,000. That's still that's a marginal difference in this situation when you're looking at a guy who's making what you thought $60,000, but he's really truly making 1.8 million. Okay, yeah. And I wanted to buy one small house for my mother and 6-year-old sister. Yes, I bought him his first and only car 3 years ago, and he hasn't returned me any money yet. He hasn't even paid her back for the car, and he's been hiding all this money that he supposedly had spent already. None of this is making any sense. None of this. Let's keep going. Final update. Since my last post gained lots of traction, here's an update. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for encouraging me to speak up for my rights. Since then, we had some discussions and we've come to an alignment. As I have mentioned earlier, we both love and care for each other. So I have had a hard time leaving him. I know people asked me to get a divorce lawyer, etc., but I just didn't want to make it messy. And if you're enjoying the story so far, hit the subscribe button so you never have to miss another one. But let's keep going. He was very vague about the source of the money, but pointed out that he had owned an LLC that was acquired or a merger. Anyway, important thing here is that he agreed to fund 50% of the house that I was planning to buy for my mother and promised me a new G-Wagon. Hang on a minute. I thought the husband didn't have any more money because he spent it all. Now, all of a sudden, when everything's laid out on the table, he's got enough money to fund half of the house, 50%, and buy his wife a brand new G-Wagon just to keep her quiet and happy. It's like red flag city here. There's gotta be a reason why he has all this money and he's trying to hide it. I mean, he's reporting it to the government, like he's being honest that way, but why is he hiding it from his wife? And why is he lying, saying that, like just being cagey with the whole situation to begin with, and then when he gets found out, he's telling his wife that he doesn't have any money and he spent it all. Now when she's like really, pressing the matter, he's going, okay, I'll buy you a new G-Wagon. Are you happy now? Meanwhile, he had her go buy a 2007 beater Toyota car with her own money, and he hadn't paid her back. It's too strange. It's too weird. Like, it's almost like he was lining everything up to make it appear that he didn't have as much money as he really has. And now that the truth is slowly coming through to fruition, he's now telling her, okay, look, you know what? I'll just buy you a new G-Wagon. I feel like we're just at the tip of the iceberg here on this one. Like, there's so much more going on. Like, where's the guy getting the money from? He is an employee at a tech company. Most employees aren't bringing in 1.8 million a year. I mean, if he was like this big CEO founder, little different situation, but it's looking like he's a young guy, fresh out of college, got a tech job, and now he's making 1.8 million. And there's just this mysterious LLC that popped up and got acquired, or there was a merger. Like, it's too elusive. It's way too elusive. And he doesn't come from money. And all of a sudden he's got all this money. What is going on? And why did he lie to her for so long and create an entire fallacy in their lives, making it seem like he was kind of like hard up for cash and needed an extra $500 a month to help with the mortgage when he's sitting on 1.8 million? Why he made her go out and buy him a used car while he's sitting on 1.8 million, all to make it look like he didn't have as much money as he really had or has. The truth is slowly coming out, but he's still latching on, and he's trying to basically bribe her and make her happy enough not to ask any more questions. Let's keep reading. Does anyone else feel like August is the Sunday of summer? It's the perfect time to hit reset before the autumn rush, and for me, that starts with my wardrobe. Quince proves that you do not need a crowded closet to look incredible, you just need the right pieces. Quince has high quality essentials from organic cotton and Mongolian cashmere to premium stretch denim starting at just $50, with the fit and structure that you would expect from a luxury designer brand. So I ordered their Bella Stretch wide leg jeans in midnight blue, and they fit so well I had to go in for a second pair in coffee bean. Look, when I find a pair of well-made jeans that actually fit really well, I order multiple pairs because they are essential in every wardrobe. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands by working directly with ethical factories and cutting out the middleman. They also offer hotel quality bedding and bath, kitchen staples, essentials, and thoughtfully designed furniture. Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/afterdark. Get free shipping on your order and get 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/afterdark. Now let's get back to the show. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I think communication works most of the time. Also, he's got potential to go and do great things 5 to 10 years down the lane. I wouldn't want to leave him high and dry. She's talking about communication, but there's so much that is not being communicated. Like, he's being way too vague about this mysterious LLC. Show me the LLC documents. When was this thing started? What was the LLC for? What kind of business was this? Was this outside of your salary at this company? Show me your pay stubs for the tech company that you're working for, and let's compare and figure out where all this money is coming from. Like, what is going on? Like, is he doing fraud? Is that why he's being so cagey about this? Because I would have concerns. I think she needs to have concerns here. And he's been lying to her for way too long. When someone establishes a relationship, a marriage based off of lies like that, what more are they going to lie about? Like, that's super, super concerning. Let's keep going. I feel like I am worth way more than the $900,000 I provided him with the right energy and homely atmosphere, hence he was able to do what he does. So, me being with him is only going to help him in the future. I don't understand this. I'm truly at a loss for words. And I think it's because we don't have the entire picture here, because he hasn't given her the full truth. He hasn't told her really how he came about getting 1.8 million. And is this just last year, or has this been like a reoccurring thing this entire time? It's too weird. And who acquired it? What company? What merger? There's a difference between an acquisition and a merger. Those are two very different things. An acquisition is when someone acquires your company and it becomes theirs. A merger is when you have a partnership. So no, he's not even really telling her the truth because he's just throwing like what he thinks is like complicated business jargon at her going, well, it's like a merger acquisition thingy. Those are two very different things. It's like night and day. He's not telling her the truth. And he was telling her that he had no money. And then when she pressed on the whole issue, now he's got all this money to go and buy her a G-Wagon and put 50% down on a new house for her mom and younger sister. Just to make her happy. And she's talking about how communication is key. There is no communication here. This is just a husband who got caught with way more money than he was declaring to his wife because he probably got it from some pretty sketchy sources, and he's still not being truthful on how he acquired all this money to begin with. And now that she's like, look, like what is going on here? He's just basically trying to pay her off and make her happy. And I think it's personally insulting to her intelligence. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that he thinks that if he just tempts her with a brand new G-Wagon, that she'll just won't ask any more questions. When, like, this entire time, she's been paying him $500 a month because he's been selling her a lie that he didn't have enough money to pay for their mortgage. And he's been working her hard while he's at home laying cushy, sitting on millions. This is not communication. This is literally just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more going on here. More than I'm probably would probably want to know personally. I've unpacked a lot already, but let's continue to break this down. I don't think the issue is simply that he's made 1.8 million. Who knows? It might be actually more, but we're going to go with 1.8 million and he's getting her to pay for all this stuff. Because married couples handle finances differently. Some couples combine finances, some keep separate accounts, and some split things 50-50. And some actually contribute based on income. So there isn't one financial arrangement that's going to work for every marriage. But for two people to decide what's fair for their marriage, both people need to know what the actual financial situation is. And that's where things fall apart because she believed that he was making $60,000 a year when in reality, it was 1.8 million. And that was just last year's tax return. And that's not a small difference. That's not like you just forgot to mention your Christmas bonus. Those are two very different financial realities. So now he's not only lying to her, he's putting unnecessary pressure, unnecessary financial pressure on someone who only earns $38,000 a year just to keep up alive for himself. And then she talks about communication. I wish they were there. I think she's open. She's all about that communication, but he's not there yet. And he won't ever be there until she forces the truth out of him. So I'm curious to hear about what you guys think. If you found out that your spouse was making significantly more money than they had led you to believe originally, what would you do? And what about that car? I mean, what do you think about someone who forces their spouse, who's only making like $20 an hour, while they're making 1.8 million, to go and buy a car for them? And finally, be honest. How much do you think the G-Wagon is helping in this case? Because for me, personally, the truth means a whole lot more. August is already here, and with summer winding down, we're all trying to squeeze in our last summer plans. But it's also a good time to do something your future self will thank you for. Look, I'll be real. There was a time in my life where I did not understand how credit worked, and yep, it caught up to me. And when you start paying attention, you quickly realize how it can affect cars, apartments, and opportunities. I wanted a simple way to be more intentional about building my credit. And what stood out to me about Kickoff was how straightforward it was to get started on my phone. I also like that autopay is an option because it makes staying consistent with on-time payments easier. Users with credit under 600 grow an average of 86 points just by paying on time. Start building credit with Kickoff today and get your first month for as little as $1. That's 80% off the normal price when you go to getkickoff.com/Reddit today. That's Kickoff without the C. Get KIKOFF.com/Reddit. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/Reddit to activate offer. Offer applies to new Kickoff customers first month only. Subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Average first year credit score impact of plus 86 points between August 2024 and August 2025 for Kickoff credit account users who started with a score below 600, who paid on time, and who had no delinquencies or collections added to their credit profile during the period. Late payments may negatively impact your credit score. Individual results may vary. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay, so our next story is about two sisters. A few weeks before the wedding, a bride's older sister announces that she's pregnant and that she wants to share the news at the wedding. But the bride asks her not to because she's pregnant too, and she wants to announce it at the reception. So the older sister knows exactly what is planned and agrees not to do it. Then the wedding day comes. During the speeches, the older sister stands up, clinks her glass, and, well, I think you can tell where this is going. So let's get into it. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister not to announce her pregnancy at my wedding because I was going to announce mine, but she did anyway? I think we already know the answer to that question, but let's keep reading. I, 29-year-old female, got married 3 months ago to my amazing husband, 31-year-old male. It was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. But my sister, 32-year-old female, managed to overshadow it in a way that I can't seem to move past. A little background. My husband and I have been trying for a baby for a while. And when we finally got that positive test, we were over the moon. We decided we would share the news with our family and friends at our wedding reception. Nothing crazy, just a small, heartfelt moment during the speeches. Only my parents and my maid of honor knew about this plan. A few weeks ago, before the wedding, my sister pulled me aside to tell me she was pregnant. I was genuinely happy for her, and we had a sweet moment together. Then, she casually mentioned that she was planning to announce it at my wedding. I was shocked and told her, as kindly as I could, that I would prefer if she didn't. I even explained why, because I was also pregnant and planning to share the news that day. I asked if she could wait just a little longer so the day could stay focused on the wedding. She seemed a bit annoyed, but didn't argue much, so I thought that was the end of it. Well, it looks like Big Sister had some plans of her own, but let's keep reading. Well, fast forward to the reception, and guess what? Right after the speeches, she stands up, clinks her glass, and announces her pregnancy. The whole room erupts in cheers, and suddenly, my wedding turns into her pregnancy celebration. I was stunned. I didn't even get the chance to share my own news because it felt like I would just be trying to one-up her. Later, when I confronted her, she acted like I was overreacting and said she just couldn't keep it in anymore. When I told her how hurt I was, she said I was selfish for wanting to control when people share their happiness. My parents think she was out of line but are telling me to just let it go for the sake of the family. But I can't seem to move on. Every time I think about my wedding, I feel this bitter pit in my stomach because she took away a moment that was special for me. She, on the other hand, thinks I'm being dramatic and says I should be happy for her instead of making everything about myself. So, am I the a-hole for not letting this go? Okay, so there's still an update that we need to dive into. But before we get into it, I think it's pretty clear who's in the wrong. When someone else is getting married, you never want to make their special day, which usually only comes around once in their lifetime, or that's at least the intention. You never ever want to make it about yourself when you're not getting married. It's about that person. It's about that person who's getting married. It's their special day. So it's not the right time and place to announce a pregnancy. There's like 364 other days in the year where that can happen. It did not need to happen on someone else's wedding day. And she also knew weeks in advance that she was pregnant too. So I think it's pretty clear who's in the wrong here. But let's keep reading. Hi again, Reddit. First of all, thank you for the overwhelming support and validation. It really helped me feel a lot less crazy. So a few people asked for an update, and well, things got petty. I'll admit it. I'm not proud of it, but I'm also not sorry. After the wedding drama, my relationship with my sister was icy at best. She kept acting like I was just being hormonal and selfish, and every time we spoke, she somehow turned herself into the victim. I finally decided if she thought I was selfish and dramatic, I might as well just lean into it a little. A month later, my husband and I had a gender reveal party. Low-key, just family and a few close friends. We did not invite my sister. She found out through our cousin's Instagram post and texted me something snarky like, "Wow, guess I'm not family now." I replied, "Well, I didn't want to risk you announcing something again and stealing the spotlight." Fair, right? But the real revenge came at our baby shower. I had custom cookies made that said, "We waited our turn." One of the decorations was a sign that said, "One special day deserves its own celebration." A few people laughed. A few people looked uncomfortable, but I saw my sister read the cookie and go very quiet. She asked if the cookie was about her. I told her, "If the shoe fits," and walked away. Now she's telling the family I'm the one being dramatic and petty. Ironic, no? But honestly, I don't care. I didn't ruin her wedding. She ruined mine. She can sit with that for a while. Also, my baby is due a week before hers. Guess who's going to be very publicly posting baby pics right as she's going into labor? Not saying I'll be timing it, but I'm not saying that either. Thanks again, Reddit. Sometimes petty justice is the only justice. Okay, so I think we can agree on the original situation pretty quickly. The sister knew in advance. This wasn't someone who just got excited in the moment and just blurted out the news. She told the bride ahead of time that she wanted to announce her pregnancy at the wedding. And the bride asked her not to, and she explained why. Because she was pregnant too. She and her husband already knew, and they had an announcement planned for their own reception. So the sister isn't missing any information here. She knew exactly what the plan was. She knows exactly what the bride asked her not to do. And then decides to get up anyway and announces her own pregnancy. That's so not right. And then on top of that, the sister accuses the bride of wanting to make her wedding all about her. Which, it's her wedding. If there's ever a day where somebody gets to have a little extra permission to make a day about them, it's on their wedding day. And the frustrating part is that the bride never actually got to make her own pregnancy announcement that she was planning to make on her wedding day. So now she doesn't want to steal her sister's moment that her sister actually took away from her at her own wedding. And then on top of that, the family just wants everyone to just forgive and forget, which I understand. It's important not to hold on to these things and keep feeding to the whole family drama. But keeping the peace can't only mean that the hurt person just stops being hurt. There has to be accountability, and that is missing. So yes, the sister was completely wrong to announce her pregnancy at the wedding. But then the question becomes, how far can the bride take in terms of retaliation before she's giving this drama way too much space in future celebrations? This was supposed to be the baby shower now. And now the sister is a part of the whole drama without her actually even being there. And now we've got babies being recruited into some type of drama before they're actually even born. So where does that leave everybody? At this point, I think it's time for the bride to enjoy her baby, celebrate the milestones, and let the wedding drama stay at the wedding. And if she can't get an apology from her sister, now she has a little bit more insight on her sister's character. Which situation would be harder to rebuild trust after? A spouse hiding a completely different financial reality, or a sister knowingly taking over a moment at your own wedding after being asked not to? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you have fun with me tonight, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next one. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time on Reddit After Dark.